काम है मेरा और मैंने basically I'm an electronics engineer who has done his MBA, and then I went for my master's and PhD from to USA. I went there for master's and PhD to USA from University of Texas at Austin. After doing PhD, I came back because of my parents, and first I was with IBA for about 5 years, and then I left IBA to join Karachi Institute of Economics and Technology. There I am Dean for the last 10 years. Now, over the last 4 or 5 years, I became increasingly aware of the problems in the education sector, and I found out that basically when I looked at the problems afflicting the education sector, I found out that they are more of a structural nature. So we have established this school based upon a very simple principle, and the principle states that we retain only 10% of what we hear, we retain 20% of what we see, but we retain 80% of what we do. And therefore the basic principle is learning by doing, because the retention is about 80% of whatever we have done through our hand. And it is for that reason that we remember even very things that we have done decades ago, and we still remember them, and we can't forget them because we experienced them and we did them. Based upon this, unfortunately in Pakistan we do things 50 years after they are done in USA or in Western countries. So this concept of learning by doing, which is also known as activity-based learning, and its variations are problem-based learning and project-based learning, PBL. Many of these concepts originated around 50 years ago in the West. But unfortunately, as we do everything 50 years later, I think we are among the pioneers to introduce project-based learning at the school level. And so the learning actually happens by giving the students activities or projects designed around the concepts that we would like them to understand, and they do those activities, they do those projects, and as a result of doing the project themselves, they are able to understand the underlying concepts. And the beauty of the entire thing is that the projects, this learning is also known as holistic learning. Any real life project does not subscribe to the artificial boundaries of these subjects. So all subjects are there. For instance, if we are doing a simple project like, for instance, developing a model of a city, for instance. That's a project that the students are right now working in. Now, in developing that model of the city, they are also reading. So there comes the English and the communication. They are also writing because they would like to communicate what they have learned. They are also constructing, and of course making a layout of a city requires that they know some of geometry and mathematics. So mathematics is there, and of course then there are electric supply and the water supply and the various other services that are required in the city. And there comes the science. So there's a maths part, there's science part, there's sociology part, there's historical part, and so on and so forth. So all the subjects are actually given treatment. They get treatment as you are doing a real life project. And the interesting thing about the entire thing is that the children love it because they can connect it with their own lives. Anything which is not connected with your own self, which is not connected with your own experience, which is not connected with your feeling, tends to lose its meaning. And so the students are really motivated, they are willing to discuss it and do research on their own. So that's, in short, is actually an overview of the methodology, the learning methodology that we are following over here. The role of the students and the teachers and the parents and the school go through very interesting transformation when we use this technique. Typically, in a conventional school setting, the teacher is on one side of the table and the students are other. So there is always this conflict between the teacher and the student, because the students want the grades and the teacher would like to ensure certain standards, and there is actually a tension between the teacher and the student. Similarly, there is a tension between the school administration and the teacher, because the school expects the teacher to cover 1,000, 2,000 or whatever number of concepts during the year, and there is always this tension between the teacher and the school of trying to monitor the coverage of what has been, what was asked and what has been covered. And then of course there is a tension between the school and the parents, because the parents are perceived to be on the other side of the table and not on the same side of the school. जी, ये हमारा रिसेप्शन है. What we see is the research section, the library. Typically, what happens is that the students are told, okay, here are 5 or 7 or 10 books, that is your curriculum. What we actually tell the kids is that your curriculum is this place. Yeah, meaning the whole library. All these books are your curriculum, which you are expected to know. Of course, the areas that you are more interested, you will go in greater detail. There are computer facilities, internet available through which the students can do research. They find their various projects. And over here we have the children's section. This is the children's section of the library. There are books of knowledge and reference books which are over here, and then the story books are over there, and the students get time to come over here. We don't force the students to do a particular activity. If they say that they don't want to do it, then they are given a list of activities to choose from. If they say that no, we don't want to do this one, this one, this one, then they can always come over here and can find some book or some material to get amused and go through it. So it's basically a place where a kid can express himself through the selection of the material that he is interested in. This is one of the activity rooms that we have. Over here, as you can see on this wall, we are working on a timeline. The project is a timeline. The students go home and go through the newspapers, select pictures, and they are starting to paste these pictures on in various areas, as you can see over here. So starting from 1947 to 2012, there are spaces involved, and they are beginning to stick the pictures where they are. Now, in this project, it is a history project. As you can see, of course, we are talking about history. It's also a mathematics project. So the student is getting a feel of what events happened how long ago. They are getting a sense of time, the passage of time. And then we design certain activities where they have to say that what thing happened 10 years ago and 20 years ago, and ability to compute the difference in all of those mathematical concepts happen over here. For instance, I'll show you this thing. This is a box, what makes me angry box. So the students actually slips whenever they feel angry, there is a dispute, rather than reprimanding them and giving them a punishment, we ask them why you are angry. And if they are angry, they write down what makes them angry, and they put this over here, as you can see. For instance, a kid has written, my brother makes me angry. See, and then we ask them to, we pick out these slips, and as we will go to the Hyde Park area, you will see that the kids will, then we pick out these slips and we discuss, why should, what is good, what is bad about the feeling that you are having. This is a small maths area, there are mathematical models where they actually do it. Typically, arithmetic is taught using coins. So using these fake coins, they do various mathematical activities. How much money you have. So this is the Hyde Park. The day starts, you can call it as assembly. We call it Hyde Park because every kid is allowed to say whatever they want. Of course, there is some theme also. So the kids can come over here, tell a joke, make a presentation, ask a riddle, recite a poem. The poem can be in chorus form also, and they also, of course, do start out with the recitation from Holy Quran, and then if there are any issues that they are having with other kids, this is the place where they resolve those issues and they. अब आप यहाँ पे for instance देखें, ये बच्चों ने मुख्तलिफ अपने प्लान्स बनाए हैं कि वो शहर में क्या क्या देखना चाहते हैं। तो पहले उन्होंने इसके डायग्राम्स बनाए थे, उनके नज़दीक क्या क्या चीज़ें होनी चाहिए, क्या शहर के अंदर होना चाहिए। ये जो सेक्शन है बेसिकली आर्ट्स एंड क्राफ्ट के लिए। हाँ, ये प्लास्टर ऑफ पेरिस से ये सारे बनाए हैं। हाँ, ये मोल्ड बना के और ये सारे बनाए हैं। ये आप देख रहे हैं कि वो हॉर्टिकल्चर एग्जीबिशन के हवाले से जो काम चल रहा है, तो ये एग्जीबिशन में हम जाएंगे तो ये बच्चे मुख्तलिफ तरीक़ों से इन्होंने ग्रो किया है। प्याज, आलू और बहुत सारी चीज़ें इसमें की हुई हैं। कॉर्न भी उगाया है, कुछ निकल आए हैं, कुछ उगा रहे हैं। तो ये पिछले 1-1.5 महीने से ये पूरा प्रोजेक्ट जो है ना चल रहा है, और इसके मुख्तलिफ डिस्प्लेस करेंगे। और वहाँ पे इस वक्त जो हमारा थीम चल रहा है उसका नाम है वो मेरे दम से यूं ही मेरे वतन की जीनत, जिस तरह फूल से होती है चमन की जीनत। तो एक फ़र्द का वतन से क्या ताल्लुक़ है, और फूल का चमन से क्या ताल्लुक़ है, और फूल किस तरह चमन में खूबसूरती पैदा करता है, और फ़र्द जो है वतन के साथ क्या करता है। तो ये रिलेशनशिप है। यही वजह है कि जो सिटी मॉडल का प्रोजेक्ट है वो भी इसी थीम के ऊपर है, और चमन और फूल के हवाले से बाग, और बाग के अंदर फूल और मुख्तलिफ खाने की चीज़ें, ये भी इसी के हवाले से। ये हमारी साइंस लैब है। यहाँ बच्चे मुख्तलिफ साइंस के प्रोजेक्ट्स कर रहे हैं। बच्चे जो है ना दे डू वेरियस एक्सपेरिमेंट्स, और ये भी वही लर्निंग बाय डूइंग है। क्योंकि आपको मैंने बताया था हमारा थीम इस वक्त वो चल रहा है मेरे फूल की चमन के साथ और फ़र्द की वतन के साथ रिलेशनशिप। तो इस वक्त पत्ते, पौधे और उनसे रिलेटेड एक्सपेरिमेंट है। अच्छा, ये लीव्स का जू बनाया है आपने, वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड। यानी कि लीव्स को लेकर उसके साथ हमारे यहाँ कैंटीन कोई बाहर वाला आदमी नहीं रन करता। बच्चे जो हैं वो खुद से खाना बना के लाते हैं, कोई भी चीज़ स्नैक्स बना के लाते हैं और यहाँ सेल करते हैं। तो ये सेलिंग और बाइंग जो है इज़ द लर्निंग एक्सपीरियंस फॉर देम, एंड दे अंडरस्टैंड द वैल्यू। जो हम लोग मैथ्स के कोर्स सवाल कर रहे होते थे मैट्रिक में, और हमेशा गलत होता था, कॉस्ट प्राइस, सेल्स प्राइस, और वो इतना मुश्किल है। तो यहाँ दे आर लर्निंग बाय डूइंग।